I just wanted to take the floor for 5 minutes and share some events. And one of them is, a couple of them are events I'm involved in. So it's unabashed self-promotion. But I actually think that 2010 it could be a big year. First of all, we're kind of feeling the rebound in the economy. People are a little bit more optimistic, but there's actually a lot going on in Denmark around entrepreneurship, and I want to share with you the events I'm most excited about. It's not comprehensive. It probably only covers the first half of the year. The first one is First Fridays. I'm actually really excited about this. I think for us it's the first event where it should be about the audience, and I know so far we've been talking one way, but it won't be that way. Because I know from personal experience, and every time I speak to an entrepreneur, they always need something, someone, some help, and hopefully this can be the forum to do that. We could even go, we're talking to Malmö and Lund about doing something together, so we'll see if it can grow. We don't have a specific site, but you showed up, so somehow you heard about it. So it's on OK1, which is Suna's IT firm. It's also on Startup Bootcamp. We may come up with a special site for it. Okay, the other thing, I think the first event I want to share, or the second event, I think all of you know about, is Venture Cup. But I think Venture Cup is one of the coolest, most dynamic initiatives in entrepreneurship in Denmark. It's focused on students. It's a student business case competition, but there are many real companies have come out of it. And this year what's new is that they've split it into 5 streams. I don't know if you can read those. You can see it on the site on venturecup.dk. But they have some of these streams have finals coming up, and those are great networking events. Also, if you want to recruit some hotshot students for your own startups, or maybe you can help one of them. These are, I think, important events, so I'm happy to promote that. The other thing is Natasha. We just met in December. Natasha is a serial entrepreneur, and we had a really good talk about the lack of a community around entrepreneurs in Denmark. And Natasha's done a lot of work and spent a lot of time in Stockholm. And in Stockholm, there are a lot of names that have kind of attracted events around them. There's a big social scene around the entrepreneurs. And Natasha is dissatisfied, as I am, with the scene, the lack of a scene in Copenhagen. And so the idea is to do these city pairings, live events. So the first one is February 25th. It doesn't have a name yet, but the idea is to have people like ourselves in a bar in Copenhagen somewhere, equivalent to us in Stockholm somewhere, and have a live stream, have a Twitter storm going, try and get these communities talking and interacting. So I think really cool initiative. If we're smart, maybe we can combine this with First Friday in the future, but keep an eye for this. How are you going to communicate about that?
I'm going to be doing it a lot on Twitter.
You're going to have a site.
Hashtag Nordic Meet and
Hashtag Nordic Meet.
On Twitter. Otherwise, please contact me.
Okay, well, here she is. Okay, the other thing, very, very exciting. It's related to another event I'm going to talk about, Startup Weekend, but this is an initiative by a guy called Nicholas Stevenson in Aarhus. It's a startup event for 10 startups over a weekend, and he's selected 10 startups, and he's going to throw a lot of mentorship and a lot of energy, and they're going to sit at this geek house, this appropriately named place in Aarhus. And he's managed to get this long list of super mentors, including yours truly. And he's just done an amazing job. And this guy's 21 years old. And he's, by the way, running his own startup. And I'm just so impressed with this guy. And I actually consider this a warm-up or a test as well for the Startup Weekend, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But if you're from Jutland, or you have people in your network who are interested in this, it's going on 26th and 28th Feb, and he has this Twitter Startup Lab. So keep an eye for that. The other one is Startup Weekend. How many of you have heard of Startup Weekend events? Yeah, some. So this is something that's been going on for about 3 years. It was an initiative by one of the founders of Techstars. And the idea is you get a room full of people on Friday evening. Anybody can pitch their idea in 1 minute. The crowd votes on the best ideas. 10, 12 ideas get picked. Teams form around each idea, and then they work to Sunday night. And at the Sunday night, they end up pitching again. And maybe there's a prize. Sometimes there's some sort of a ceremony around it. And actually, it's been run in 65 cities in 14 countries, not anywhere in the Nordics until now. And many real startups have come out of this. And it's just this fantastic event. These are pictures from actual events. And there's a lot of work, there's a lot of coding. It tends to be tech type of initiatives, web-based, because that's not always. But there's also a lot of fun going on. There's a lot of food and drinking and, I don't know, partying, but energy. And we've decided to do this in the Nordics. First we had Clint Nelson from Startup Weekend visit with us last month. And we said, let's do Copenhagen. And he was like, yeah. And then we got more ambitious. And what we're going to do is we're going to run simultaneous startup weekends on April 9th in all of the major Nordic cities. And we think we can get this giant buzz going and some cooperation across the cities, maybe even some healthy competition. Who can come up with the best startup in the Nordics in 2 days? You can go see copenhagen.startupweekend.org, and the other cities are live as well. There isn't much content yet, just getting started, but we're looking for venues, we're looking for sponsors, we're looking for your support. This could be huge. It's a non-profit thing. For us, it's just a promotion of what we're working on, in my case, Startup Bootcamp. But we think that's a huge contribution to the Nordic startup energy out there. So keep an eye for that. The other thing, how many of you have heard of SeedCamp? So SeedCamp is a European initiative, also inspired by Y Combinator and Techstars. You go for a week, you compete with other startups, and the winner gets 50,000 euro and a lot of mentorship. It's been running for a while, and they've been doing mini seed camps, which are one-day events throughout Europe. And they did one in Gothenburg or Lund I can't remember, Helsingborg last year. And now they're coming to Copenhagen. You can't see it, but it says May 27th. That's cool, because that'll really put Copenhagen on the map. They get a lot of attention. They have a humongous network. We're going to meet with them soon. I think that's a great initiative. Great news that they're coming. And then finally, Startup Bootcamp. This is a shameless self-promotion, but Startup Bootcamp is this initiative I'm working on together with Rainmaking, also inspired, very directly inspired by Techstars. Some of you may have been at the Techstar event in November where we had David Cohen come out. And what it is in a nutshell is it's a 3-month program for 10 teams, up to 10 teams that get accepted. They get an incubator type environment. They get mentorship. One of them is sitting right here. We have a lot of really, really cool mentors. A pile of cash, 25,000 kroner per team member. And we work for 3 months very intensively, throwing a lot of mentorship, a lot of input. They work on their startup. You'd be amazed what you can do in a weekend. So in 3 months, you can achieve a lot. And at the end of the 3 months, they get to pitch to a room full of investors. This is a new initiative. We're looking for mentors. We actually have very good success in getting mentors, but we're looking also for your support, some viral energy going on, and we're also looking for a venue. @BootcampDK is our Twitter feed. So that was enough for the one way, I think. So now we have our first 3-minute case, which happens to be sooner.